Another mastermind hit.
What's up, everyone? It's your boy Mastermind here for How Cannabis Live. Welcome back to another live stream here. Happy Friday. What y'all medicating on today? Good to have y'all back here. So, the main question everybody keeps asking me is, when are we going to be able to grow? That's the number one thing I keep hearing. And, I think that, everybody's telling me the consensus is going to be December the 7th. So I'm pretty sure that's probably when it's going to happen. So mark your calendars on December 7th. That's probably when we're going to be able to grow. And I would love to know what you plan on growing. The picture behind me is a real picture. It's not a stock photo. This is actually a picture from inside of an Ohio cannabis grow, medical cannabis grow called King City Gardens. So this is what it looks like at their grow behind me. I don't know why I'm getting this weird echo for some reason. But hold on one second. I'm trying to figure out where this sound is coming from. Let's see, hold on a sec. So what y'all medicating on right now? I got a new group set up called Ohio Cannabis Growers. And if you would like to go ahead and join it, I went ahead and put the link in the description. I also have the Zoom chat set up. Let me see if anybody's trying to come into the Zoom. Trying to figure out where my echo is coming from. So I don't know where it's coming from. Coming from Zoom. That should solve. So yeah, I'm dying to know what you all have to say now that cannabis has been legalized in Ohio. And the question is, when can people expect to be able to buy? And it looks like that's going to be after September. That's what we're hearing. At Ohio, they're always saying stuff like that and it ends up being something else. So that is a real possibility that it ends up being 2025. So that's something that we could have happen, and that would definitely not be a good thing for us. We would have to wait, but I have a weird echo. Let's see. Hey Jimmy, EP20. Hey Lynette, thanks for being here. Hey Steven, thanks for being here. Hey Richie, thank you for being here. So yeah, it looks like we got some streamers here. So I mean, Jordan, you're gonna grow some sour. I mean, I asked y'all what y'all was medicating on. The next question I want to ask is, what's the first thing you're gonna grow? I mean, everybody keeps asking me if I'm gonna grow some layer cake, and I probably will grow some layer cake, but you know, that might not be the first thing I grow because I'm gonna be really picky about where I get my seeds from. One thing I thought was interesting about this election was the resistance in some of the counties that already have dispensaries. I think that was really what shocked me the most. I was like, wow, this is kind of weird. I'm thinking these places where they already had dispensaries were already gonna, you know, pretty much uh, go right for it. But for some reason they did not, and it's we ended up with 57 that were for it and 43% that were against it. 2.1 million people voted for it. 1.6 million people voted against it. So, I mean, and there's 7 million people in Ohio. So I think there's about 4 million people who didn't say anything. And I think that's interesting too. I think a lot of times people go to vote, they're worried about their name being tracked. And hey, he's on the record, he voted yes. And, maybe that'll affect their job or employment, but that's not the case. And now that we've legalized, we definitely have to make sure that we're starting to work on all the new things we need to have done. Because we need housing protection, we need rental protection, we need child care protection, we need some more additional protection for employment, and we also need to have some things in place for people that are going through probation or parole. Because now you're in a legal state, so things have changed. So that's something that we definitely have to take into account now that this has happened. And we also have to take into account for if we're medical patients, when this takes place, how hard is it going to be for us to get our medicine? I think it's going to be a lot different and a lot more challenging once the lines start picking up. Because you have to remember, not just people in Ohio who say, oh, I'm going to grow my own at home, but you got to think everyone that's coming from all the other states from around us who are also going to want to come. That's the other issue at hand to look at. So, I mean, I think that's important for us to keep that in the forefront of our minds here as far as what's going on. Well, I mean, even if federal legalization happened tomorrow, it still wouldn't be effective immediately as far as any type of like governmental stuff. They're so slow on everything else. I mean, it's like they're still using the old Windows 95 internet for the government. So, and they're constantly all these security breaches and all these companies are getting hacked. So that's another issue that we're facing is weak security. And so this is really something that we have to continue to look at and try to understand how this is going to impact us, because it will have an impact to us. And that's just something we'll have to get used to. But in the meantime, I think most importantly, what people want to do is be able to grow. And so, I think that's the discussion that most people are interested in having between now and December 7th. Also, in addition to that, you can still get a good deal on your medical cannabis card through my partner Leafwell. Just visit my website, ohiocannabislive.com, and on the homepage, you will be able to click on our button there, and I can actually show that to you today, let you see what that looks like, because we did make some updates to the website, and we definitely would like for you to take a look at it. So here's my website, and then here you can see the replay from the actual election coverage is already on my site. So typically each day after the show, it will pretty much be available on my website almost instantaneously now. You can read our blog post here now. But if you want your card, you just click on cheap renewal or click on uh, cl- click for MJ card, cheap MJ card. That's what I put on. I try to make it as simple as possible. It's only one button, and then you'll be able to shop all the dispensaries. And also, don't forget, you can get you some Ohio Cannabis Live merchandise as well. I still got some issue 2 stuff left, but this is going to be gone soon. So if you want to get some issue 2 stuff, now is the time for you to go ahead and do that. Thank you for the recent orders that just came in. I know we just had some orders over the last day or so. Thank you for your order. And right now it's still free shipping. So keep that in mind. We're not charging you shipping. It's all totaled into the price, and trying to make it easy for you to get these different things. And then we got some new stuff coming. Event-wise, I'm trying to find out from you what kind of a celebration would you like to have? Would you like to have like an award celebration? A lot of people want to have like a cannabis cup thing. Some people just want to have a major sesh party. I mean, there's all kinds of things people want to do. But in order for it to work out properly, we got to start figuring that out right now. And what's that going to be like? And we had to get some additional questions from lawmakers answered. And the main questions I have is, what about clones? As far as just getting clones, can people just open up a store and start selling clones on December 7th? Is that how that's going to work? Because I haven't heard that officially. And what, if any, type of other requirements are we going to need to have for us to have a legit home grow? I mean, I don't think there's been any discussion of any specific paperwork or any type of documentation. So for now, we don't have any template of what they are going to do, but we already know Ohio tries to make a bunch of unnecessary rules that they usually can't enforce. So we have to keep our eyes out for that. And then also keep this in mind that the legislator may still try to do something between now and December 7th to the law that we won't like. We don't have any specifics other than, they're concerned about taxes and fund allocations. But the whole idea that they were going to take away home grow, it seems like they've kind of backed down from that. So I'm not hearing that as much as I was hearing it before, but I still hear grumblings about it periodically. So it is possible that something still could happen. But right now, as far as we know, there is no current plan for them to do anything with the home grow. I haven't really heard, recently. I think they're, still just trying to accept that they lost, and that's still making it, challenging for them to decide what they're going to do. I mean, and they're still trying to fight issue 1, even though it's already over. So that's another thing that's going on, is they're trying to fight issue 1, and they're not going to win. We already know this. You smoked at the park, bars, work, the car. It really doesn't matter to me who likes it or not. People smoke tobacco allowed areas and nobody else. Well, I mean, the thing is that that's something that they're already talking about as far as the smoking ban. Ohio already has this public smoking ban that people don't, some people don't follow it and some people do follow it. But, depending on where you are, they may enforce it, they may not enforce it. But there is a smoking ban out there. And that's, for tobacco and vape devices. So they try to take the word vape devices and put that into, let's put everything into one big category and say, oh yeah, it's vape devices, and that includes cannabis devices too. So I could see how they could try to make that an issue where that includes their devices too, and that would be unfortunate. A lot of bars don't really care, but if you're not a bar person, where else can you go and consume cannabis right now other than your house? Officially nowhere. Nowhere official. So yeah, you probably could smoke at the park. Is the ranger gonna zero in on your location? Maybe. Is he gonna do anything about it? Maybe, maybe not. We really don't know. But since they're kind of loose on that smoking thing. I mean, people are smoking wherever they want. I don't really see a lot of enforcement with the current tobacco smoking ban. Just like you said, a lot of people are not doing it. Yeah, concerts, a lot of people will probably light up. I agree with you, Ken Ambassador. That's likely what's going to happen. YouTube been having server issues lately. Is that right? Yeah. I know I've been getting a message. Uh, and so what I think's happening right now is like there's like a delay. That's what it looks like to me. Hold on a second. Let me check. So yeah, so sometimes it seems like there's a delay in it on my screen too, and I have to just like pay attention to that. But it's just one of those situations where you said no combustion, Steve. Clones would be cool. Yeah, well, I mean, clones got to come in somehow. It's got to be clones in there. No dispo, no car or dispo purchase for me for obvious reasons. AKA 2A. Okay. Well, I mean, here's the thing. This comes up a lot, so let's just be real with ourselves right now. Let's just cut all these things people saying like that and just look at it like this. No one in America who consumes cannabis is going to fill out a form for a gun and put that they smoke cannabis. No one in their right mind is going to do that. Does that make it right? No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying. Most people who are saying, well, I'm not going to buy from the dispo and I'm not going to get my card because of my Second Amendment rights. Well, here's the thing. Ohio's an open carry state. There is no permit anymore. So you don't need a permit. So that's not a reason anymore. Oh, I can't get my CCW. Well, that's over. There is no CCW. They got rid of that. That's a done deals. It's open carry. So when it comes to cannabis and guns, this is a federal issue that still needs to be resolved at the federal level. But let's be real. Whether you shop at the dispensary, whether you shop as a medical patient, or whether you're going to be a home grower, you're not going to admit you use cannabis on the gun form. But you should, right? And then they're going to deny you for you to be able to get the gun. It's really a catch-22 situation. That's why I just don't own a gun, because I just don't want to be dealing with the drama associated with it. And I'll give you a good example how this has come back to bite somebody. Let's look at what happened with the Dayton mass shooter that happened at the Oregon district. Well, the guy who got him the gun had a medical marijuana card. And he went and filled out the form. And of course, like all other people were doing, who are going and buying guns at stores and places like that where you got to fill out a form. No, I don't use cannabis. You're going to go right home and use cannabis and say, who's going to catch me? Well, they caught him because he filled out the form. They found out he had a medical cannabis card, and he lied on that form. He was charged with lying on a federal form about his cannabis use. So you can be punished for lying on that form is what I'm getting at. And so saying that you won't support your local dispensary or you won't get a medical cannabis card because of your Second Amendment right, it's really a situation where you're going to use cannabis anyway. You're going to go buy a gun anyway. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. I guess what I'm trying to say is someone who says, I'm not going to support businesses, I'm going to just do my own thing at home, that's fine. More power to you. But if you want to go buy a gun at a gun shop, you're still going to be faced with the same question. That's all I'm getting at. So it doesn't matter whether you're using a dispensary or not. If you're going to be a cannabis user, the answer right now is you can't have a gun federally. But that's also the same issue with being a cannabis user. That's federally illegal. So we are already bucking federal law just in the situation we're in right now. And we have been, even with the medical program, still against federal law. So Ohio is going to have to decide what are going to be the policies when it comes to firearms. How is it going to mirror the same system that is used for alcohol? You called it regulate marijuana like alcohol, even though I think that wasn't the right name. But there's no restriction on going and getting a bottle of alcohol and having a gun. You don't have to check mark that on the form. Yes, I use alcohol. Imagine how many people would not be able to purchase a gun if you had to admit that you used alcohol. Look at it that way. Would you, who uses alcohol, whoever you are, would you put on the form? Yes. And then you're not getting a gun today. So that's all I'm getting at with the gun thing. I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but it's very frustrating because I support the right to bear arms and I support the right to self-defense. So I think it's really frustrating that the federal government or the state government hasn't realized that they need to create a gun policy related to cannabis possession or cannabis use or medical cannabis use. There needs to be some guidelines in place for it, and it just needs to be cut and dry. I know Michigan, they basically say you can't have cannabis and gun at the same time in your vehicle. So, if you're going somewhere because you're a security guard, for example, you can't have a bag of weed in the car with you with your gun. So, I mean, there is ways to do it, and other states have dealt with it, and people still have been able to have their guns. So we just need to do that here, and that's what we got to do. It's real simple, and I think that's why we have to stay on legislators and local leaders and lawmakers to figure out how these rules are going to be changed. It's just like traffic stops. We got to figure out how we're going to change the narrative with that. Somebody saying, well, I think you've been using cannabis. I smell cannabis. I think you're impaired. I'm going to go ahead and hit you with an OVI and make you blow or do a blood test that says you're going to test my blood. It's going to be 98% pure THC. So what is the fix? What's the solution? There has to be something. There has to be. We have to figure it out together. Yeah, but there's not a paper trail leading back to a dismissal, is all I'm saying. That's why I said federal legalization will solve this. Well, it's got to be that way. It's just the same thing with banking. So no, I don't disagree with you at all there, at all. I hear what you're saying. I just think that the idea that cannabis users, you know, have this gun issue is kind of frustrating because alcohol users don't have this problem. People who use opiates don't necessarily have this same problem. So I think that that's the way we have to come at it, is that some common sense legislation and amendments need to be made to protect the right to bear arms, the Second Amendment, while allowing people still to access to be able to go and get cannabis now that it's legal in Ohio. And, they have 9 months to figure out the licensing process and some more additional rules that will be ran through the Department of Commerce. So expect a lot of information to just be flowing out really quickly and over the next several months about this, that, and the other. And I'm sure that repeatedly over and over, the issues about home grow, about guns, and other things, including doctors paying for, not doctors, but insurance companies paying for medical cannabis recommendations, all becoming a part of the conversation, because those are things that I think make sense. A lot of people keep saying, why would I keep my medical cannabis card? And there's a lot of reasons why. I mean, you definitely should keep it because you want to keep getting discounts. You may want to travel to another market that's medical only. You want to save on the sales tax. Um, you can buy more. You can possess more as a medical cannabis patient than you can as a recreational user. I have yet to see the specific rule for how much edibles you can have. Um, so, of course, you can make your own edibles if you like. Um, but even if you're going to start growing in December, it's still going to be a while for you to get everything up and running. So it's going to take you a while. Maybe you already got your stuff going, good for you. But there are other people who haven't started yet. And then there are people who are looking for seeds. And seeds are available. You can order those seeds online. You can buy those seeds locally. There's people who are doing that. So there's a lot of people who are trying to already get out there in the market and innovate. And all we're trying to do right now is just plan. Don't just jump out and just start doing a bunch of shit. Plan first. Research first. Do your homework first. Don't assume you know everything. Take take a step back, have open mind, and realize that things are going to be different in Ohio's rec market than in Michigan, than in California, than in Illinois. Don't think it's going to be exactly the same, because it will not. Because you heard the governor. He said we're going to do this the Ohio way. And you already know when he says that he means he's going to do it the backwards way that no one's going to like. That's what he's telling us when he says he's going to do it the Ohio way. You're like, oh no. That means they want you to have low THC. They want to have all these rules and restrictions and tell you, you know, you can only smoke it at your house. And if you don't own your house, you can't smoke it at your house. And, you know, there's nowhere for you to go. There's no sanctuary. There's no spaces or anything. I mean, we still got to settle this issue about having combustion lounges or places to go, venues that are specifically for cannabis users. So those are all the things that we're working on right now. And it's going to take a village to build a nation. So start getting ready to do a lot of some of this select work. Now that we've got the biggest part over, now we still got to do some of this fine tuning to make sure that everything is right for us over the next 12 months. That's really important. What I'd like to know right now is, what are you having for dinner? What you cooking tonight? What are y'all making for dinner? I noticed everybody hasn't the like button. We got 16 viewers. This ain't the 1,000 we had last week, and I won't be on here really long today. I got some car trouble, so I got to try to get some work done on my vehicle. So make sure you support the channel. Support me through Super Chat, Cash App. My Cash App address is in the description of the video. You know, every little bit helps. Last week we broke a record. I don't even want to say last week. Tuesday we broke a record. We had over 1,000 views on the live stream, and it was pretty impressive. Texas Roadhouse, okay. Pizza, okay. I understand that, Steve. Yeah, you know, I understand that completely. People still get CCW in Ohio to have rep, replicating privileges in other states. Okay, I'm not going to say that I'm going to be an expert on what happens in other states, but if you live in Ohio and that's not something you worry about, there is no CCW. So I know there are companies that are still taking people's money and telling them they need a CCW, but a lot of other states have dropped their CCWs too. That's why Ohio is trying to like follow suit with all the other states who just want to make it the Wild Wild West. So yeah, maybe there are some states that still need CCWs, but as far as you living in Ohio and having a gun and walking around with it in Ohio specifically, you do not need no CCW. That I know for a fact. So yes, if you want to carry your gun to other states and do all that, have at it. Give them your money. But for the people who here who trying to save money and ain't worried about that, why pay them money for a permit that you're merely, I mean, again, like I said, if you're traveling all over the place and you feel like you need to take your gun everywhere you go, then give these people your money. But if you're just going to stay in Ohio for the most part and you're not traveling all over the world, why waste the money on it? Don't make it be about weed. That's all I'm getting at. I don't care whether you get a CCW or not, but it's not required in Ohio. That's the main message that I'm trying to convey to people who are not completely sure whether you really need it or not. So again, I'm not trying to be the expert on CCW issuance or the authority of CCWs. I'm just saying that living here, they got rid of it. Maybe somewhere else they're still worried about that and make people do it and taking people's money, but other places they've got rid of it because it was just a big money cash grab. Why should we have to pay to have a gun that we had to well buy just so they could have a permit? It's just like getting a permit for having a chauffeur's license when you already drive people around anyway. It's another way for the government to make money off of us for no real good reason. Hey, Captain Green Toker. Hey, well, it happens like that sometimes. That's why I try to hang in there as much as I can right now, even though it's hard for me sometimes. But I definitely think that we've got a lot of work to do, and we're going to have a lot more live streams and a lot more videos about cannabis than we've had before. And people have to come on the show and come on here with me and not be camera shy, not be scared. And if you want to get out here and do something, let's do it. Let's get everybody together and let's start building this cannabis community that we really wanted in the first place, and not have everybody be so worried about so many different things. Let's have some fun. So with that, I'm gonna jump off here. I'm gonna see all of y'all soon. I'm working on that tour video of King City Gardens this weekend, so hopefully I'll have that ready to go and released on my website on Monday. It will not be on YouTube. It will not be on Instagram. It will not be on Facebook. The only place you'll be able to see that footage is on my website. So make sure you sign up for updates on OhioCannabisLive.com and keep an eye out for that link when I release that video. You don't want to miss the tour of King City Gardens with the police there too. It's gonna be something wild to see police learning about weed. So make sure you tune in for that on OhioCannabisLive.com. I thank all of y'all for being here, and I will see you on the next stream.